This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Monty Moore with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carey Ann with CMG Financial and My Mortgage Team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along and subscribe at talkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away. Questions at talkmusiccity.com. That's questions at talkmusiccity.com.
Well, Monty, it is a new week. How has your week been?
Holy cow, Carey Ann. Can you imagine pulling up to a house to do a walkthrough as a real estate professional? Well, let me back up a little bit, okay? If for anybody listening out there in the real estate world that has been tempted not to do a final walkthrough, boy, have I got a reminder for you that you've got to always do that. So here's the situation. Can you? And I think that I've personally been guilty of this. That's why it resonated so much with me, is like, holy cow, I'm glad that didn't happen to me. So what happened was one of our agents met his clients at a vacant home earlier in the week.
Okay.
They wanted to measure some curtains and wanted to show the in-laws that were in town. Okay. Now this is really not an unusual scenario. Okay. So then Friday they're supposed to do a walkthrough, or Saturday they're supposed to do a walkthrough. They're closing on Monday. But he's thinking to himself, we just saw the house on Monday with the in-laws. Everybody's excited. It is what it is at this point.
Right.
But something checked in his heart that, it doesn't feel right. I need to go make sure at the last hour that everything's okay. So they pull up to the house, and guess what's in the driveway?
What?
A full U-Haul truck is sitting in the driveway, which isn't his client's.
No.
Yes. The lockbox had been cut off the front door.
Oh, man.
A window had been broken into, anyhow, long story short, after talking with the poor tenants in the driveway, that somebody posed to be the owner of this house, took their down payment, their deposit, their first month's rent, and probably has left town. And those poor people are sitting in the driveway now, their money gone, and my client having to call the police. He actually called the police because he said, look, because at first they didn't believe him.
Sure. Wow.
And so he had to call the police. Police are there and saying, hey, look, I'm sorry, but these folks that are the other folks, they're going to be soon in 2 days, the rightful owner of this home. We don't know who it is you've been in communication with that took your money, but it's not these folks' fault. And so can you imagine going back to the idea of not doing that final walkthrough? Can you imagine how much more challenged it would have been had they moved in, and now Monday after the closing they show up with keys in hand, excited about moving in their new home, and somebody's living there?
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Wow.
Can you imagine with the inconvenience,
talk about the stress,
and the domino effect there, and so forth? So anyway, that was real story? That happened 3 days ago.
You're kidding.
That's
3
crazy.
days ago.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
That
People
is
would just
amazing.
Those poor people that probably gave them, down payments and stuff for that house.
I know it. All that money's gone.
Yeah.
And no telling what the story was. I've heard of those stories before, but never at that where there was so brazen. They cut the lockbox off the door, took the sign out, it was in the back, and broke a window out so they could get into the house. Anyhow, stressful. Can you imagine how stressful? Wait, speaking of stressful, we have a gentleman here who's going to help us get unstressful. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about
our fabulous sponsor. Yes. Thank you so much to Music City Removal. They are the #1 junk removal service in Nashville, from residential, commercial, and construction. They're experts of ridding you of junk. Their costs include labor and dumping fees without any hidden or added expenses. Whether you need a full clean out or just one item removed, they have you covered.
The Music City Removal team knows the importance of respect and trust while in someone else's home. They understand the inconvenience of junk left behind by previous homeowners and tenants, and are determined to provide an affordable and customer-focused junk removal service that puts you first. For a free on-site estimate, just go to musiccityremoval.com. That's musiccityremoval.com.
Yes, Music City Removal, because clutter ain't cute.
And that wouldn't have been very cute in those poor people's house that they moved into that house.
Not at all. Well, there are so many stories that are just so stress-free in this industry, aren't they? I feel like
Not
stress
really.
is my middle name, right? And so we're so excited to have Dr. Frank in the house. You want to say his full name so I don't mess that up, my friend?
Marghella.
Yeah,
right?
you got it.
There you
All
go.
right. All right. Plus
Dr.
our
Frank
main man
Marghella
over here,
and Jason
Mr.
Hoover.
Jason Hoover.
We love
All
him.
right. Absolutely.
So great that you guys are in the house. So, Dr. Frank, you're going to talk all about how to be more zen and stress-free. Is that it? Is that how? Was that what we're talking? What are we talking today?
Well, obviously, this year has been probably one of the most stressful
For so many,
For
yes,
everybody.
for so many.
ways. So
and
many ways.
it's probably going to last throughout the year. So I just wanted to come on today and just help, figure out how to deal with some of the stress.
I love it. And Dr. Frank, you are an amazing chiropractor here in the Williamson County area.
That's
Is that
right.
true? Wonderful. And so how long have you been a chiropractor?
So this is my 13th year.
Wonderful. And you kind of sound like a transplant. Are you a transplant to this beautiful city?
I am.
Just like myself?
I am. I'm originally from Long Island, New York.
Very
and
good.
I've been down here though. When I finished school, I came right down here. I just had an inkling. I didn't want to stay up in the north. I came right down to Nashville.
Yes.
Carey Ann, are you going to start talking like that now?
No, well,
She hangs around me long enough.
Yes, we will start talking. But it's a little warmer here than where we're from. But we're so glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Your talents are relieving the stress of so many. I've never been to a chiropractor. Have you?
This man right here.
Oh, look at you. There you go. That connects the dots.
I mean, we don't believe in promoting anybody that we haven't had a great experience with first. And Connie and I regularly visit Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank actually was a customer of mine a couple of times, back in the early days when he just first got started.
Wonderful.
And we got to be friends then, and certainly began trusting his expertise. And now we believe in preventive maintenance, so we go regularly. Connie and I do.
Well, that's important, especially if we want to do this job, real estate or mortgage, for a long time, right?
And this has been such a stressful year across the board, it seems like, for so many. And because chiropractic and there's a lot of, just more than just chiropractic that Frank is going to share with us today, that all of us can benefit from. Is that right, Frank?
That's right. It really goes deeper than that. And, chiropractic's great for back pain, neck pain, headaches, all the things that you usually think of with a chiropractor, but it actually goes deeper. And with this pandemic now, one of the things we learned in school was back in 1918, there was a flu pandemic. Well, when they had the flu pandemic in Iowa, where was the chiropractic school I went to, they had a clinic there, and they had about 2,000 people that ended up going there during the pandemic. And in that town, they had about 4,000 people that went to medical doctors. Well, the chiropractic group only had one death out of all those people that had the flu, whether they were treating for it or just preparing to not get it. And the other group had hundreds of deaths in the medical. So it just goes to show that chiropractic really is more than just pain. It actually helps your body function better. And it does help with immune system strength. It helps with sleep. It helps with, many things as far as digestion. And it's way deeper than just the pain aspect of it.
Well, I'm going to learn a lot today then.
This is one of the reasons why I
didn't
wanted to have Frank on here, because, one of the things we've been sharing here at Realty One Group Music City with our agents is to be proactive. The best defense is a better offense. The best offense, when you're talking about health, is building your immune system. Is that right, Frank?
That's right. And if you think about it, what would you say is your most important asset in life? It's your health.
It's your health, yeah. Without your health, it's like you're not
I mean, I can't do what I do daily, I guess.
Right.
Is that why I'm going to say overdose, but it's not really. I just say that. But every vitamin there is.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm just trying to keep my immune system going, because even one day out of commission in my business, it's like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's can take you down for sure. So
That's true. Health. My grandmother, we talked before about being from the Northeast. When my grandmother grew up in Italy, she was 3 years old when she came over through Ellis Island, and she lived to be 104 years old.
wow.
And this was like a healthy 104. This wasn't like 104 where she didn't know who she was or whatever. She was mentally still there. Physically, she was still walking, really until a couple weeks before she passed away.
Wow.
But she always told me that health, if you have your health, you're rich. And she always made a point of drinking water every day, walking. She always said, the two things that she recommended was always keep your legs moving, and everything in moderation was what she used to say. And I feel like if more people took that advice, they could live a longer life. She was in better shape in her 80s, 90s, and when we had her 100th birthday, than I unfortunately see some people that come in my office.
Right. Yeah.
So Frank, we're talking to the real estate community here with you today. So give us some insights as real estate professionals. How can we keep our immune system strong? How can we, some of the bullet points we've talked about earlier today that we're going to share today. This is our audience, the real estate professional who's running 80-hour weeks sometimes, and it's just you're riding this roller coaster of emotions with our clients and so forth. Our strength, I think, and our health is especially important in this kind of a stressful environment. So what kind of key things can you share with us today?
So I would say number one is sleep. That's one of the most important things. And people usually burn the candle on both ends, like my mom would say. And a lot of times people almost feel proud that they're not getting enough sleep. Like, I didn't sleep last night. I got 2 hours sleep and I'm up. Honestly, for most people, that just doesn't work. And one of the things I find is that a lot of people trying to go to sleep can't usually go to sleep or can't stay asleep. And what happens is they have no routine before they go to bed. They also have no routine when they get up in the morning. So the best way to end your day is honestly not using the cell phone, a computer.
You're saying that to real estate agents and mortgage professionals.
But hear me out, because I get it, and there's times where I'll catch myself doing it too. But the light that comes out of a cell phone or a computer, the blue light actually keeps your mind active. So if you try to use your phone and then go right to sleep, you can't actually go into sleep because your body's not ready to go to sleep yet. That light makes your mind say it's still light out, it's still daytime. So the hormones and the melatonin things that start to function and the serotonin when you go to sleep won't happen because your body still thinks it's time to stay up. So the best thing I tell people, if you just before bed, about an hour before bed, try to unplug from that phone. Try to read a book, try to listen to some music, meditate, have some prayer, do something for you, because if you end the day using this, and the other thing is what most people do, unfortunately, is they're watching the news. And the news stands for nothing ever worth seeing, in my opinion. And
amen, brother.
Yeah. And the problem with the news is it's there to make money. It's there to divide people and make money. So that's not what you should be doing before bed. The things you need to do before bed is something for you, something to wind down and relax. And that's why I tell people, try not to be on their phone right before bed. That's one of the most important things. And then on the flip side, when you get up in the morning, what's the first thing you probably do?
So I'm sorry, let's go back to the nighttime report. Okay. Let's pause for a second. Now, when you're saying not before you go to bed, are we saying 5 minutes? 2 minutes,
I would
30
say,
seconds, or are we saying an hour? What
if you can do an hour before bed, if you can really unplug.
I can't imagine doing that. Can you imagine doing that?
So what do you do?
I feel so vulnerable.
So
I watch Criminal Minds, actually. Murder shows. That does my body good.
So, and I love TV too, and especially during the pandemic, that's what we're doing a lot more of that, as we're watching shows. But honestly, the best thing to do before bed is read. I would recommend to read a book for fun. I know that sounds crazy, but not something that's business related, not something that's personal growth, just something that's fun that you probably wouldn't do at another point.
I don't believe in doing that. It's
so
like mental chewing gum. If I'm going to read something that's got some value to it.
So
I'm just kidding.
I get
We're agreeing to disagree.
Yeah. And
respectfully,
it's what I find is that we're not like a phone, we're not like a computer. We humans have to unplug to recharge.
Sure.
And it's
it's what it is.
It is. Yeah, it's really important.
We're fighting it. So
if you don't unplug to recharge, just like going off topic a little bit, I tell people take some vacation during the year. I know a lot of people have jobs.
What is that?
What is it? How was he? I just say that. What?
It rhymes with what?
I thought that was made up.
We feel like it is sometimes. But if you don't take the time to unplug and recharge, you don't grow as a person, and you basically wear yourself out. Whatever profession you're in, you're going to wear yourself out. Wow. So you really take those vacation days. A lot of people go, I'm going to take the pay for it. But if you look back in your life, you work really hard. What happens to some of these people that work so hard? They retire and then they pass away within a few years of that. And why did you work all those years, right? You want to enjoy the time with your family. You want to go travel. You want to spend the money on things that you enjoy. And if you don't have your health at that point, what did you really work
Right,
for?
for sure.
It's very true.
So I've had to do the same thing. I've really had to look back and be like, hey, I need to focus more on my family, on things that are healthy for me. And I've been doing that more for myself, and also as an example for my patients, but also my kids. And now my kids I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I want to really be a good example for them. I don't want to be the old out of shape dad. I don't want to be, dad's sleeping again. He doesn't want to play with us. He doesn't want to do anything. I'm trying to make sure I have the energy to hang out with them so that they feel like they got the most out of when they're young, and we can play and hang out and stuff.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
All of us. This is such an exciting topic. I mean, for the new people that just started real estate, to learn this on the upfront is so important. I'm now sitting here blind in one eye because of stress. If I was taught it of how to balance it and maybe manage it a little bit differently, and really appreciate that, yes, I have to schedule out, because I was the girl. I mean, I haven't taken a vacation forever. It may be a Friday off, a Monday off here or there because it's a bank holiday, but that's not really one. But, you're given those. But, it is hard for somebody, like we were talking before, is when you take one day, you feel like you're so far behind. But if you can balance that and go back to some of the other podcasts we spoke about with scheduling and leveraging and, adding more help to your team, et cetera, maybe some help guide into that stress-free environment.
Stress-free.
Honestly, before the year,
manage stress.
Before the year starts, I've read this. Several people have said, plan your vacations. The new year starts, or it's going to start. Plan. Okay, in September we're taking a trip here. In July we're taking a trip here. Have it on the calendar, set in stone.
We did that.
Yeah.
When COVID hit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
we
this
got a cruise next month.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not now.
This was a crazy year for that stuff, but normally most years, you plan your trip and then you can take it. And it's honestly just like anything else. If you don't write it down, it doesn't happen. Just like I'm sure you guys have talked about your goals, your sales goals, your relationship goals.
Absolutely.
If you don't write it down, it doesn't happen. So it's very important to write it down, and that's really a big part of it. So write down your vacations, write your time off, write that out, because if you don't set aside time in the day, then your mind is going to wander, and it's not going to take that time to do that.
I heard a great speaker once say that I should even schedule time with myself. So like if I even just wanted to, have the walk that I'm doing in the morning to kind of create a little bit of Zen for me time, schedule that out, because if not, we're going to fill it with something else. If you have a personality, like one of ours here. So that's super important too.
So we're going to bed on a regular time.
He's back to that.
So
Let me get this straight.
You lost me at leaving my phone.
We actually sleep all night, and we'd actually take the phone and hide it before bed.
Well, see, our challenge, of course, is not just because we're in the business, but the security of this building is wrapped up in this,
right,
so we have to, pay attention to it.
I think those are excuses I'm hearing now.
Probably is. I'm a control freak, okay? Actually, when I'm on vacation and when I do that, I feel better if I've got this right here, because then if somebody needs me, I'm right there, but I have a hard time letting that down. So I guess that's why I wanted to go back there. I think I'm not probably unique in that, not around this table anyhow, as far as being a control freak when it comes to hanging onto our phones. So we know now that for 1 hour before we lay our pumpkins down to go to sleep.
Yep.
Now, does that include TV as well?
So technically, it's all electronic devices.
That's
So
what I want to make sure.
My challenge to the 3-4 of you here is this week, do that each night and just see how it goes. Give it a shot and see how you're sleeping.
For a whole hour.
For a whole hour before.
That only leaves us 23 for the rest of the day.
I don't know if you could do that enough during the day.
So it's interesting. I do fall asleep very fast.
Oh, I do
My
too.
struggle is staying asleep through the night. It's 3 o'clock, and I'm like, it's a little early. And what struggles for me is I finally get back, and now it's pushing 6:30, and it's like torture, because if I only could get up at 4:30, like that 1 hour is what's killing me. That 3.
Right, me too.
Getting up
I wake up at 2 and I can't go back to sleep until
that's
about
the struggle.
3:30, and then at 4:30 my alarm goes off.
How do we fix that?
So that's a good question too. So that goes back to vacation time too. So one of the things that I've talked about, so I have a podcast as well. It's called Sporting Good Posture, and it's a lot of different health topics. And
Sporting
things like
Good
that.
Posture?
Sporting Good Posture.
Check it out.
Yeah, when you check it out.
And it's really good on a lot of different things. So anyway, grounding.
So stand up straight. Shoulders back.
So I'm not the only one now conscious
the
of
mic up. There we go.
So there's something called grounding, and grounding is when your feet actually physically touch the ground. Sand, grass,
the ground,
dirt,
Okay.
the actual
not the
ground, not concrete,
yeah.
not street. It's actual ground, and your body has a certain frequency to it. And if you don't actually touch the earth and recharge the frequency back to its normal frequency, you're going to be more likely to have stress, diseases, cancers, all the bad stuff, basically.
Okay.
And you won't be able to sleep at night either, because it's going to throw off your circadian rhythms. So if you're able to do some grounding, whether it's on vacation, like going to the beach, going to the lake, just going around your backyard and barefoot, or your front yard, playing with the dog or something like that, playing fetch.
You know how many spiders are in our yard?
Just something that you can actually touch the ground.
Your feet are supposed to be hitting on the.
They're actually supposed to touch the ground, because when you do, your body, there's a frequency that your body needs to be at, and if it's not at that frequency, you're going to be more likely to get sick. And it happens a lot during the year where people go, oh, it's cold out, and that's why I'm getting sick. Well, that's not really the real reason. It's because of many different things, but part of it, the frequency's off in your body. And again, it goes back to the cell phones. There's ions, they're actually called positive ions, that come out of the phones, out of the computers, and your body absorbs these ions. So if your body is absorbing those ions, now it's going to go in the wrong frequency. So it's going to be more likely to cause disease, cancers, poor sleep, heart rhythm's going to be off, all these kind of things are off.
So you recommend a daily come together with the ground?
If possible. It's hard to do that because many places don't even have ground, like an actual earth.
Right.
But if you can actually do that, it will help you more. On top of that, exercising will really help a lot, because when you exercise, your body rids of toxins. And that's the thing, is like think about everything. When you we had the pandemic going on, what do you see people stocking up on? Toilet paper, alcohol, frozen foods, right? They're not stocking up on strawberries and bananas and pretty healthy stuff. They're stocking up on a lot of junky, M&Ms and things like that. And that, sugar is another thing. I mean, we all know sugar is bad for you, but the real reason it's bad for you is because your body feeds on that. So cancer is fed by sugar.
Really?
Disease is fed by sugar. And if you don't have a lot of sugar in your body, then disease can't live. Anytime you get a sickness, it lives off sugar.
Wow.
So I recommend to people, if you do get sick, don't have sugar. It also likes dairy. So like don't drink a lot of dairy if you get sick, because your body will feed off of that and the sickness will stay longer.
So we are in a pandemic, and there's the talk of, the coronavirus and things. So something like that type of virus, being grounded with our frequencies, could possibly counteract that, or what are your thoughts?
So the real reason people get sick is not so much of, going like around people that are sick. It's more that your internal environment allows you to get sick.
I see.
So if you don't let your internal environment get bad and get toxic, you're less likely to get sick. So if your body is healthier, if you're eating better, if you're working out, if you're sleeping better, if you're drinking water, if your body is not toxic, your body doesn't have as good a chance to get sick. And if it does get sick, it's going to be a lot more mild than some of the unfortunate cases we've seen.
Right.
And typically it's the people with what they call as comorbidities, which means you have underlying health conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, stuff like that. Those are the people that are more affected by this virus. And in general, those are the people that are affected, like from flu or cold, or just repeatedly get allergies and sicknesses. It's because their internal environment isn't well enough to fight off infection.
I met with a girlfriend the other day, and she's very fit, and doesn't take a lot of medicine because I think she believes in what you believe in. But she was saying to drink warm lemon water in the morning to kind of get her body cleansed and ready to rock and roll. What's your opinion on that?
Well, that's a good point, because that brings me into, we talked about sleep. Now in the morning, it's really important. Again, my feeling from what I've read and what I've done for myself is, again, not going for the cell phone right away. And it's more about your mindset for the day. So think about it. If you first thing you get up, right, you're checking your email,
right.
You're doing stuff for work. Whose agenda is that? Is that yours or somebody else's?
Everybody else's except yours.
So you haven't done anything for the day yet for you. So if you don't start the day out for you, and you start it out for somebody else, you're not going to be as productive as you can be. You're not going to be as successful as you can be, because you're not living the things that are important to you and that you value. So the best thing to do is when you wake up in the morning, do something for you. Again, schedule that time. Take 30 minutes, take that walk, go work out. Go, read again or meditate or read the Bible, something that you want to do. or just spend some time sitting on the porch and just listen to the birds or something like that. Whatever you want to do. But the worst thing to do is open up your phone and look at the emails, because right away you're going to be on somebody else's agenda and you're not going to be as successful and productive that day. Because think about it. Now your stress is now starting at 5 a.m. Or 6 or whatever time.
What about the political posts on Facebook? Can you look at that?
See,
that doesn't cause any stress, does it?
Yeah.
So question on that. In the morning time, does it matter if you're reading? Because like sometimes like people do devotionals and things like that online.
Yeah.
Is it the electronic that is bad to do that with? Like you shouldn't use a electronic device?
So not so much in the morning. So that's important in the morning. So if that's how you do your devotionals, if that's how you do, something that's going to strengthen you, like your mind, your business, stuff like that, that's okay. It's more like if you're trying to go to bed, you don't want to look at the phone because it keeps your mind active.
The light.
The light, yeah. Basically the light. And there's a lot of research on it. But that blue light, again, is very bad for go to sleep with.
What if you have blue blockers on?
So those help. No. You love it.
I just have this visual of Monte with his big blue blockers.
I'm watching Seinfeld before I go to bed tonight.
Those do help, though. Those actually are real.
You got to be barefoot in your front yard for an hour.
With the iPad a certain distance from your body and with the blue blockers on, with the sunlight coming down on you, then you can do it.
Yes. I love it. And then what if you just dug some dirt outside and put it in a little bowl next to you?
Does that count?
Does that
count?
work?
That's what I was wondering too. 2 flower pots by the bed.
Just stand in them.
Dirt in them.
Oh, we're here. Well, Dr. Frank, this has been fun so far.
Wow.
This is good stuff.
So
I didn't hear coffee. What part of this in the morning do I get my
Let's
coffee?
Let's not go there. I don't want to know.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Don't tell us stuff we don't want to know.
Don't tell us.
I don't want to know. I mean, I'm already messed up just to having to let go of my phone. That's already bummed me out.
But seriously, like in the morning, that's really the time to do those things for you. And I find that if you start your day off for you, when the stress comes, because you know it's coming, you're not already eye level of stress. You're not neck deep in it. It's down here. So you can handle those things that pile up throughout the day. If you start the day and you get that email from that client that is mad about the closing or something crazy happened, like Monte was just talking about.
That's a good way to think about it. Is you haven't raised the level of.
Well, I will say I've been really good with doing my me time in the morning. I do my walk. I listen to my business podcast. I have my Zen time for me. But the last week of the month, like there was none of that. Like literally, I did do what you just said, and this took over, and it never let me outside. Like I could never get to doing the me time, which possibly if I continued to do that, I could have made it through without as of a stressful, week that it was. So, but this is great information.
The problem here is that you're with 3 people who have a really high stress level or pain level. I think pain tolerance level is what I'm talking about. And so we just say, just another deal, just another deal.
Turn it up to 11, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But like you said, I'm going to be the old one-eyed wonder over here, 80 years old, maybe all stressed out and not able to enjoy life if I don't get it organized now, is what you're saying.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint. You got to remember, it's a long game. Real estate's definitely a long game. A lot of times if you have investments in it or, you have short-term or long-term rentals, it's a long game at that point because you're looking for the future. You want to retire off of that kind of income, and you want to have client base that lasts for a long time, so you build a business. So if you burn yourself out in 5 or 10 years, you've lost not only your health, but you've lost your business too.
And I think we're in the mortgage business. Many people, if they're listening, are probably experiencing that now. The rates are so low. So over the last 120 days, we've all been literally so stressed out because we're like, well, it's going to go away, right? Like, do we hire more help? No, because we don't want to fire them, when we hire them. But it continues to go and go and go. So it's a crazy balance and trying to organize it all with our stress.
Any other nuggets here, sir?
Great nuggets.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Going back to, so you guys are in sales, basically I'm in sales too. Ultimately, it's about selling yourself.
Right.
And if you don't have
the product.
Yeah.
Dr.
If you don't
Frank.
sell yourself, if you don't have good relationships with people, you're not going to grow your business. People aren't going to trust you. People do business with people they know and like and trust. And if you don't have that kind of trust and that kind of passion and charisma, and people don't realize that you're really in it to help them. If they know you're in it just to get money, get cars, whatever you got to do, then they'll see that. They'll see through that. But it's definitely about helping people. And that's, as a chiropractor, I want to help people, and the money will come after that.
Sure.
Because I know that when people see that I'm genuine, I want to help them, they're going to bring their family, they're going to bring their friends, and they're going to get healthy, and they're going to tell people about it because we did a good job. I know Monte has done this for a long time. He's built a great business here. He's got a lot of people that trust him and follow him, and it's because he's put that time in. People trust him. They know him. They know that he's a good man. They know that he puts the time in for things, and people can sense that. And it's really about, again, your mindset. It's about why you're in it for the right reasons. And I do feel like at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, if you don't do those things, if you don't do those things for yourself, you can't be that person that you want to project out there in business and in life, because you're still flawed and you haven't really done the things to make you improved.
Absolutely. And I think being stressed and not being ready for the next day causes other things, causes short emails, or causes you to make mistakes, when writing that contract, or coming across a little short, in your conversation and things. So all of that, there's a lot of other side effects, that come. You can get shingles, like I did. There's a lot that comes with stress, right? So we're going to be zen, everybody now.
Well, and it's funny you say about shingles, because shingles is definitely due to stress, but it also follows.
Thanks. Where were you 12 years ago?
It follows what?
It follows nerve roots.
Wow.
So it'll be in a particular nerve root. Right. So again, that also goes back to the spine. So if your spine is misaligned, you're more likely to have problems with shingles or other diseases, because your body, again, it's like a blueprint. It's like a roadmap of nerves, and every nerve controls a certain part of your body. So a lot of people don't know this, but like we talk about posture. The reason posture is so important. Do you ever see somebody walk around a nursing home with good posture?
No.
What do they look like?
Hunched over.
Hunched.
Yeah. Yep. They're hunched over. They're just like, rounded forward. They got that quote unquote granny hump, right? And they don't have, so think about it. If you slump, try to breathe in when you're slumped down.
Hard.
Right? Yeah, think of what your heart has to do. Think of what your lungs have to do. Now, if you sit up straight,
wow.
How much better is that to breathe, right? And so how people talk about how halfway through the day they feel kind of tired, they feel kind of zapped of energy, not only because probably what they ate at lunch may not have been the best, but if they're slumping all day, they're not actually getting a full breath of air. If you don't have enough oxygen, you can't function as a human. So you need oxygen to function. So if you sit up straighter, you're going to have better oxygen flow, better heart pumping, better digestion, and your body's going to be more efficient that day. So one of the other things that I do in my office is weight loss, and posture has a lot to do with weight loss. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'll tell you why. In your neck, you have a nerve called the vagus nerve. It comes out of the back of your neck and goes down through your body to the lower part of your body. And it controls your heart rate, your breathing, but also your metabolism. So if you're slumping constantly, that nerve can't get down to the bottom of your body, so that it innervates all those organs and tissues so that your body works more efficiently. So that's a big reason why. On top of that, we talked about sleep before. Sleep is really important, because if your body's not sleeping properly, then you're building up cortisol in your body, and you're not going to be able to have a better metabolism. So when you basically, cortisol stores fat. And that's not what we want.
No.
So if we're wanting to lose fat, the last thing we want to do is skip sleep and have poor posture, because those things are going to work against you. So the reason that people don't have long-term results from weight loss, we all go, oh yeah, I lost 10 pounds for a month or two.
Then it finds you
again. It's just
or
like
COVID hits.
It's like your keys. What happens when you lose your keys? Eventually you find it, right?
Oh, I stress.
First you stress, then you find it.
Yeah.
But just like if you go, I got to lose 10 pounds, if you don't have the right mindset about weight loss, you're going to find that 10 pounds again.
Sure.
It's about finding the ideal weight, and you got to figure out what that ideal weight is. But if you don't know your ideal weight, in your mind, it'll do what you tell it to do. If you tell it you want to lose some weight, it'll lose some weight, but you're going to find it back, because your mind wants you to find that weight again. Just like if you lose your keys, you're going to find your keys at some point, your cell phone, whatever it is. But you have to have the mindset properly of why. And then the other thing that people don't lose weight in inches more permanently is because they don't address the underlying health conditions that are also around that. So when people have weight problems, what else do they usually have? They usually have poor sleep. They usually have high blood pressure. They usually have high cholesterol. They might have diabetes. They might have indigestion. They might have IBS. They might have back problems, neck problems, headaches, asthma, allergies, you name it. So what do you do to lose weight, right? What are you going to do? Name a few things.
Burn calories.
How do you do that?
Work out.
Work out, okay.
I work out.
So, all right, work out. What else do you do to lose weight?
Eat right.
Eat right.
Yeah.
Eat right.
Cut back on carbs.
Yeah.
What else for weight loss?
Some people take pills.
Pills, just say you take some supplements, okay.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to do something else?
You could do surgery.
Cut it out.
Surgery.
Cut it out.
Cut it out.
So basically, most people name about 3 or 4 things. Now, I just rattled off probably a dozen underlying health conditions. So you got 3 or 4 things on this side of the chart. You got a dozen over here. If you had an army of 12 people or 3 people, who's going to win? The 12. So if you don't address these 12 things over here and you only address these 3, you're not doing enough to overcome why you gained weight in the first place. So what I do in the office is I find not only the reason why you're losing, that you can't lose it, but also address those things that are causing you to keep it all, where you keep having to find that weight, unfortunately.
Right.
So if you address these other underlying health conditions, then you're going to get that permanent change in your body.
So smart.
So Dr.
Okay.
Frank, speaking of find, how do people find you if they're looking for you?
So I am in Cool Springs. I'm on Seaboard Lane, and I'm at Ideal Health and Wellness Center, and I've been there the last few years at this location. It's a great office, and our office phone is 615-567-6683. My website is idealhealthwellnesscenter.com, and also my website for my podcast is called sportinggoodposture.com. I actually just came out with a new ebook just this past week about healthy eating. It's called How to Eat Healthy Cheap.
Oh.
Because a lot of people think that it's expensive to eat healthy. It's really not. And if you go to sportinggoodposture.com/eat, you can download that ebook for free.
Awesome.
And you can learn more about how to do that.
That is great.
sportinggoodposture.com/eat.
This is great information. This has been awesome. Dr. Frank, thank you so much for being here. And in the words of your grandma, I love this, and I wrote it down. She said, "With your health, you are rich." So that is super, super important. So thank you, everybody, for coming out this week and listening to the Talk of Music City. We will see you back next week.